Hi, Jess. I'm very grateful that you are doing this in a time zone that Australians can make, because I've been keeping an eye on this for a while, but it's been a little bit too early for me to commit to getting up to. So I am super grateful to connect with you.
Yay.
And I've been following you now for a little while, and I just love everything you've done. So thank you so much.
Thank you.
My question is, I'm still pretty new to Instagram. I've had an Instagram account for a little while, but I only have like 100 followers, and I think 90 of those are family and friends, and there's probably 5 bots, and then there's probably 5, real people. And even those people may not even actually be my ideal audience. They're just supporting me through my connection with them in BBD or something like that. So I'm just wanting to I really am starting from sort of like, it feels like ground zero. And one of the biggest blocks that I have is I feel like I have like so much knowledge. I've done a lot of work on myself over the last 5 years, particularly, but I'm really struggling to actually get that out of my head and into some sort of way of sharing it on Insta to get myself known out there, and just really just even just sort of content creation and how to start the journey.
Yeah. Okay. Are you open to some feedback?
Yes.
Okay. You had said off the cuff, I only have 100 followers. And I know that it's just easy to say and it's all relative. But at the same time, you're giving a lot of power away to the size meaning something. And you obviously you work with James. You said BBD, right? Okay, so
Yes.
we can talk all about how we're meaning making machines and all of these things, which I'm sure you've heard from him before. Only 100. Could you imagine 100 people showed up at your front door right now? Like 100 is actually a lot of people. And when we do the math, if you sell $1,000 program and one person bought it out of 100, which is not a lot, that's $1,000. And if you sold a $2,000 program to 4 people, it's 8,000, right? So 100 people is actually a lot of people. So be mindful of your words because words have power. And you did say only, and then you also did say, and I'm just reflecting because you said it was okay, something about content creation being, being hard and people not seeing it and all of that. And you said, I don't know what to post or I don't know what to create. So just be mindful of how you're speaking about yourself, your content, and your followers. Because at the end of the day, imagine all 100 people bought. Then what? That's a lot of people. Now, with content, what is your niche? What are you teaching?
I'm aiming, like, I wanted to support other mums of type 1s. I have a type 1 diabetic child, and that's sort of what sent me down my pathway. And
Yeah.
I want to empower other mums of type 1s to thrive, the saying, thrive, not survive, and become mentally fit so they can face life's challenges. And essentially just mindset work to help them be not feel in the victimhood of why me, why her, or why us, or why them.
This is an incredible niche. It's also a huge niche. I have a very good friend of mine who is a T1D, and she runs a T1D page and a T1D company. She's not running it for the parents necessarily. She's running it for the person who has T1D, but her company has expanded. Happy to connect you to her. I don't know if you already follow her. Her name is Lauren Bongiorno. She's in the States. She's incredible. She owns Risely Health. But I think really just with your content, getting super clear, because there's so many things that you can talk about. And when you're talking about being the parent of, you have to ask yourself, what is the parent of? First of all, where are they hanging out? Are they mostly hanging out on Instagram? And if they are, what are they searching for? Are they searching for quick tip things for their kids, or are they searching for their own mindset? And maybe it's both.
Oh, sorry, you're actually asking me?
Yeah. Could you answer? Like, are
Sorry.
they searching for like tactical, for example, I'm going to get this wrong, just last night gave herself like 10 units of insulin instead of carbs or something like that had happened. So like, are they looking for tactical, what do I do when that happens? Or are they looking for more like, I feel so alone and I'm stressed, or I feel guilty and I need community and that type of help for them?
Yeah, so I guess essentially those questions are asked on the actual practical application of dealing with the actual condition. And I'm in part, a lot of Facebook groups that do offer that support. And essentially I don't want to actually touch diabetes. Like I don't want to actually, that's
Perfect.
not where I want to live. I literally just want to help them become, just find their own power in, like when it happens, you just become all encompassed with your child and
Yep.
managing their condition, and you just really do go into survival mode. And I want to help them get out of that survival mode and go, you can actually have a life of your own. You can challenge the thoughts that you're having, and and view life differently, and not just in a, this is bogging me down.
Yeah. How often are you telling your story of what you've been through and how you've navigated the survive to thrive?
I haven't.
Would you be open to sharing it?
Yes. Oh yeah, like yes, obviously, absolutely. But I guess I know that would be the. I don't know why I haven't.
That's okay. It's probably the foundation to your entire business. I would guess it's the reason you started it or want to start it. It's literally your purpose. It's your why. It's your dharma. It's a core value. It is the entire business, is your personal experience with it. If you had not had a personal experience, you wouldn't be sitting here going, man, those parents of type 1 diabetic kids, they must need support out there, huh? Like if you hadn't experienced it, you probably wouldn't be thinking about that. And it's not that we're selfish or bad people. I have never thought to help parents of type 1 diabetics because I am not one, right? Nor am I a diabetic. So I've never had the experience. I didn't know that it was needed, but you do. And so by not sharing it in whatever capacity you're comfortable with, I think you're doing yourself and the business and all of these parents a disservice, because you haven't shared the reason that you started this thing. And so the content isn't going to hit the same way. And you probably haven't even gone into the depths of the content that you could when you start to share. Because the foundation of the business for a season, and that could be a couple months, it could be a couple years, the actual foundation of the business right now is only your story. That's what makes you an expert in it. That's what makes you someone who's gone through it. That's what makes you someone who has tips and tricks. That's what makes it, you know what I mean? Like it's very different than having a particular certification where it's like, I went to school for this thing, and so I am a plumber. Like you didn't necessarily, you've lived through all of this. And like you said yourself, you're not T1D.
No.
And you're not teaching T1D things. So you're not coming in as like a doctor saying, these are the things you're going to do for T1D. So your whole business is this experiential thing that does not make you not an expert, but everything that makes you an expert, if you're not sharing it, well, then how will they know?
Yeah. And I think I struggle with how to actually call out to them specifically. And like I literally put in the chat, like overwhelmed mums, because essentially what I do can help anyone and any mum. But I
Yes.
sort of
And
wanted to specifically focus on them. But it's a big mouthful to say, well, actually, I used to say mums of type 1s. But then also too, like it's nearly encompassing any mum whose child has a chronic health condition, but that's a mouthful to say.
that's also very, 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 very wide. And when you go wide and you try to chase two rabbits, you catch neither. You will be far more successful if you focus on just T1D, whether that's parents or moms, because moms is even more niche than parents. You will be far more successful. It is very clear what you do when you're helping all moms, when you're helping all parents of any kids with any health issue or concern. It is so wide, it is so broad, you're going to miss most people. The other thing is there's not going to be that strong connection point because you don't get it. You don't get me. My kid doesn't have T1D. My kid has fill in the blank. It's different. But when it's all T1D, it is the same. And you can talk about things like, I don't know if you have in Australia, JDRF, right?
Fabulous.
Like, yeah, like you can talk about that stuff, which that wouldn't resonate to somebody who isn't going and doing their walks. It's the research foundation for juvenile diabetes. The other thing that I would say is you kicked off and said overwhelmed moms, which everybody does this. Y'all, please find me a mom who is not overwhelmed. Like impossible. Find me a human who is not overwhelmed. So that word is a waste of space. It's a waste of breath. It's a waste of literal characters when you're writing your I help statement in your Instagram bio. Like, that's a long word. You're wasting prime real estate by a word that is just a given for any human on the planet. Man, woman, kid, adult, we're all overwhelmed. Everyone. It's like a badge of honor. Stressed, overwhelmed, burnt out, busy. Like, these are all things that we just all feel. They're emotions that we all feel. So I would love to see you just go all in, super niche, moms of type 1 diabetic children. And the helping portion is, as a mom of one, for how many years?
Coming up to 6 now.
6. 6 years of experience of, I'm not going to put emotions or words into your mouth, but 6 years of coming home and feeling XYZ, of conversations that left me here, of disappointment that left me there, of scary moments, of moments that I thought that something awful was going to happen to my child, of sleepless nights. Like, it's that, like, the whole business is based on that. And for a mom of a type 1 diabetic who's 2 or who's 8, but just found out, you have all of these years of experience that they don't have yet. In fact, the girl that I was telling you about, who's like, 30 something, she's younger than me, but she's in her 30s. Her dad actually was just diagnosed like 3 weeks ago, and she shared about it. He's like 60 and he was just diagnosed. The emotions, could you imagine like what is coming up for him and his wife and his kids and all of these things? So I think it's so important that you share your story and what makes you an expert and the things that you're doing to navigate, not the insulin, not the doctor stuff, right? But what are you doing to navigate when he or she's having a meltdown? What are you doing to navigate when you actually don't have the candy, the sucker nearby you? Like, what is that? How do you emotionally deal with that? The call from the nurse at school, I'm sure every time your heart drops, it's like that type of stuff.
Yeah, thank you. That's really good. And it just helps me. Yeah, it's just, you've actually just given me some words to use. So thank you. Yeah. And I just want to just go back to your very first comment about my language around when I said only 100 followers. I think, the main reason I used only 100 followers because I don't see those because of who I'm looking to serve.
Who they are, right.
They're not, yeah. So yeah. I literally don't think I have any one follower that is a type 1 mom. So and literally that is starting at ground zero.
Best place to be. I've said it to my clients so many times in coaching calls. I sometimes envy the beginning. Like I oftentimes, we teach people how to create courses and launch them. And so for most people, it's their first launch. And I'm like, man, you have no idea how lucky you are that it's your first. There's nothing to compare it to. There's zero expectation. You have no data, no metrics. You have the hottest of leads who've never bought from you before. You have people in your audience waiting for you. But I would say the same to you. What an amazing opportunity to have the knowledge that you have and free resources out there to learn things that I didn't learn when I put my business together. When I first started creating content, I spent 6-7 years throwing spaghetti at the wall before I learned what a niche was, before I learned how to write an I help statement, before I learned that you should have a hook and a call to action. It's like, all this stuff and you can start straight. Like, you can start your platform knowing that. And that is so powerful. Yeah. I dropped so Lauren's Instagram. Yeah, of course. I put her Instagram in the chat. Yeah. She's amazing.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Was she on James's BBD podcast as well? Because not BBD, Mind Your Business podcast.
I don't think so. I don't think they've ever been in that world. Yeah. I don't think she's ever been in this world. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Of course. Thanks for coming on. Thank you so much for tuning in. If you loved this episode, I invite you to be a part of our ripple effect and share it with a friend. And please, if you feel called, take 30 seconds to leave a 5-star review, and I'll be forever grateful. Until next time, cheers to your evolution.